I don't know if this is a post-lockdown thing. I don't know if it's just like we're seeing more of these things because of social media, and this has always been the case. But regardless, there's been a lot of instances lately of people losing their minds, and I want to yell about it. That's it. That's my intro. Hi, I'm Amanda. You're watching Swell Entertainment. Right off the bat, we're going to talk about some sensitive stuff today. We're going to talk about an assault situations at one event, and we're going to talk about stalking, actually. I went back and forth about whether or not to discuss that incident, but I have decided that I think I need to, because as someone that I have referenced, you know, some of my own experiences with stalking and things like that, I think this is important to discuss. This is also the continuation of the big all events suck now video that I probably put out before this one. This is probably just going to be titled, Why Does No One Know How to Act Anymore? First, talk about this one, because I think this is like, of the things we're going to talk about, this is the lighter one, and it seems like it's a one-off comment. This is from Screen Rant. George R.R. Martin confronted about the winds of winter at Worldscon 2025. Now, I have never heard of Worldscon. I heard nothing of Worldscon aside from this. So apparently during a panel that featured a handful of authors, including George R.R. Martin and Brandon Sanderson, someone got on the Q&A mic and made a comment to George R.R. Martin saying, "You're probably not going to be here much longer. So when that, and your book's not done, so when that does happen, Brandon Sanderson, will you take over writing the book?"
But here's the thing, George, you're not going to be around for much longer. And this is a tough question that I wanted to ask. This is more directed at Brandon. No. Wait, I was wondering, like, how would you feel about someone else taking over and finishing the books?
Have you lost your fucking mind? I don't... Listen, I'm not even a fan of this dude. That just seems like a bad... there's just things that you don't say. That's also really bad to do to Brandon Sanderson, because now you have put him on the spot to be involved in your insane comment towards George R.R. Martin. Here's the article. This is by Amanda Mullen. This is from 4 days ago. Like I said, it's on Screen Rant. George R.R. Martin's appearance at Seattle's Worldcon 2025 was soured when a reader confronted him about the winds of winter during a panel, telling the author he's not going to be around for much longer, before asking if there was any possibility of someone else, like fellow panelist Brandon Sanderson, finishing the book. The footage of the panel was shared on YouTube, and other attendees have posted to social media to condemn the incident. The audience booed the question almost immediately, and other panelists were quick to defend Song of Ice and Fire author. The panel ended shortly after, with the host moving to regain control of the situation. This isn't the first instance of such rhetoric being directed at Martin, with upset fans often taking the internet to complain about the winds of winter to continue to delay. Unfortunately, such discussion often turns toxic rather quickly. Like I said, everyone booed in the room is what it sounds like. I saw exactly one video. Some people have come on to like agree that this is what happened, but I don't think that matters with what was said. One woman came on TikTok and said, I was actually in that panel. That was a 2-hour panel that involved George R. R. Martin being a mic hog and making digs and comments directed at Brandon Sanderson that were kind of negative about his writing and things like that. And so when that question came up, it was probably stoked on by how he had been acting that whole panel. Let's say hypothetically all of that is true. I was not in the panel. I did not see this panel. I have not seen a recording of this panel in its entirety. Let's say that was true. No one else in that room seemed to agree with you because people booed that. Even if that is the behavior, it's one thing to be like, since you're kind of a rude dick, I'm going to ask that you don't answer this next question. Hello, other panelists. Like, it would be rude, but like, that's one thing. It's another thing to be like, hey, you're kind of going to die soon. Who's going to write your book once you're dead? That's crazy. I don't think I need to explain to you why that's crazy. That's out of pocket. That's out of line. That's over the line. You did a shimmy over the line and then did a little like dance like an emote, like you thought it was funny. Like, I don't know why I have to explain that like it's out of line and rude as fuck to be like, so you're not going to be around much longer. And that you shouldn't say that to someone who is clearly actively struggling with writer's block of a very well-received series. I'm going to watch the full clip here. Hang on. I'm sorry. This whole clip is interesting too because they also are like, I am trying to be cast in this role.
This is a really big one too, because I am really trying hard for the part of Visenya Targaryen.
About the video game voices. I just wanted a video game question. Whole building voices, fighting, and a video.
I'm part of the Martin Scorsese school, so I'm running into Martin Scorsese to hopefully adapt Sophia and have me be the next Lily Gladstone. But
Oh, they immediately nuked that panel. Oh, wow.
feel about someone else taking over and finishing the books. Yeah.
Not me.
Not you. Yes. I hope so. I hope so. I agree.
So this person said, so you're not going to be around much longer. And then immediately people started booing and trying to cut them off. I think I saw an edited version then because it got rid of all the filler of this. Oh, this whole clip is so rough. And then that's the end of the panel and they stopped recording. You uploaded this yourself? This person said they are 30 plus. So I think you're an adult and I think you know you shouldn't have said this. That was out of line. That was crazy. Okay. So overall, that clip, don't do that. You kept talking too because they were like, that's enough. Stop. And you kept going. Oh, goodness. It looks like this person has been misgendered a lot in the comments. They changed the thumbnail of the video to a trans pride flag, and then also George R.R. Martin, Worldscon 2025, trans men are men. Am not angry. Just wanted to intro myself as Visenya. I don't know how else to explain that this was bad. Now we're going to talk about Sinners and Stardust. Okay, so this is the main thing of my content warning at the beginning. Overall, what I have been told about Sinners and Stardust is that the event itself, like the organization, this is why I didn't include it in the other event video, because the other event video, though it was covering a lot of similar events that happened in the same weekend, this one, the event itself, seemingly went well. What the issue was the behavior of attendees. The first post that I saw about this was someone resharing a post that H.D. Carlton, author, shared on their Instagram stories. So I'm just going to read this for you. All right, y'all, it appears I have to make a post that I'm frankly pretty goddamn upset I have to make. This post is for the readers who don't understand consent and boundaries only. A lot of you may know a good friend of mine, Animus, who is also Ethereal Treason. He was attending a signing of mine in the past and obviously is a music artist. This past weekend, he attended Sinners and Stardust and probably had one of the most heartbreaking experiences. So listen, he's a man, right? But do we think that means it's okay to put your hands all over him without consent, or to put your hands in his waistband or down his pants or touch his dick? Do we think it's okay to quite literally back him into a corner and touch all over him to the point he literally cannot tell how many hands are on him and whose are whose? Do we think it's okay to send him into an actual panic attack because of this? Furthermore, do we think it's okay to interrogate him and insist he detail how he'd kidnap a woman, despite him repeatedly saying he wouldn't, and that, you know, this shit is fiction? Trash talk my books to him and try to get him to join in, and then attempt to follow him when he tries to get the fuck away. He had a sweat-resistant black paint airbrush on his chest and was told the only thing that would get it off would be oils. Why did this man end the night with all of it rubbed off and a handprint smeared across his chest? And if that wasn't bad enough, during the time of this mob, him and another author received a notification that an AirTag was tracking him, which showed it on his person all the way to his hotel room. He knows how AirTags work and that close by ones can trigger notifications. This was not the case. Also, he got the notification way later because he had no signal at the event and it didn't come through until he got signal again. This is literally sickening, and I am ill that someone might have planted a tracking device on him. You guys do know that these books are fiction, right? We enjoy these books because they're fiction. We do not condone these actions in real life, and while it's okay to act out your fantasies consensually with a trusted adult, it is not okay to ask a complete stranger to do so or take it upon yourself to sexually assault him. Like, I'm so incredibly disappointed that he was treated this way. I brought him into this space because I trusted that he would be safe with y'all. And the fact that he wasn't is quite eye-opening. And boy, does this affect my decisions for my own future attendances. Especially because he was not the only one disrespected at the event by a long shot. So many authors are coming out about people crossing boundaries in a multitude of ways. HD goes on to explain that they've actually had to talk about this before because apparently their own husband has been asked these questions by attendees at events, and let's explain. Okay, so Sinners and Stardust, is my understanding, is that it was mostly like a romantasy / dark romance themed event. A lot of dark romance books often discuss or include stalking, consensual non-consent, towing a line of boundaries, extreme BDSM, things like that. Okay. That is fiction. Just because someone writes that or reads that does not mean that they want that to happen to them in real life. Frankly, I have read some of these books. I don't engage with it often because frankly, a lot of it, just personally, not my take, and it ekes me out, especially as someone who has actively dealt with stalkers. It's not my fun reading, okay? But TikTok occasionally piques my curiosity, okay? It's nosy reading more than anything for me. If any man, any woman, frankly, did what to me in real life, what happens in any of these books, I'm punching you in the face and probably filing for a restraining order. Doesn't mean I dislike the book, no. Because it's fiction, and it's okay to explore fantasy in fiction and with a consenting partner. In real life, these people were not your partners. So a big element of Sinners and Stardust is that they had actors and cosplayers and the like walking around dressed like some characters from these dark romance books. Like there was the book, is it Lights Out? That's like literally like a mass king stalker book. Yes, I read it. The narration was funny. I'm not apologizing for that. Walking around in that guy's outfit. Okay, I think he was one of the more clothed people. But a lot of these guys, it's like the same thing as like having, like it's just, maybe it's because I come from the fandom side of things and not bookish events. I didn't start going to bookish events until like recently. When did I go to my first convention? I'm trying to think. Kamikaze Con, maybe, when I was in high school. 15, 16, maybe. Was that the first one? From then on, like I think there was always like an element of cosplay is not consent, like ask for permission before getting photos and things like that. Even going to an event, like I have been to adult conventions. I've been to AVN Expo, okay, where the invited talent are literally adult workers. There is such a very clear ask for permission with photos, do not touch them, things like that. And so then to just see this and hear of apparently rampant molestation that was happening for actors because they're men. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're a woman watching this or femme presenting. If you did this, I think you should have been punched in the face. We're clearly at a point where people are not understanding boundaries. I don't know if it's just lockdown and people have just never been to events. I don't know. And a man is advocating for violence. No, I'm advocating for people to fucking have consequences for their actions. Like if a man did this to me, if I was molested and someone rubbed their hand down my chest, what, because I have boobs and these guys don't? I would also punch him in the face. What are we doing? Don't touch people. Also, there was one dumb bitch, and I'm going to call you a dumb bitch. I'm getting angry now. There was one dumb bitch on Threads that was like, what did you think was going on at Sinners and Stardust with a title like that? God, oh my God. I don't care. Like, again, I talk about consent at events all the time, especially because I think I'm also like frustrated about this because like it sounds like Sinners and Stardust, the event itself, aside from this element, went really well, but no one's going to talk about that, nor should they at this point, because it was an unsafe event for many male attendees. Even other women authors are talking about the fact that like they were dragged away from their friends. And some people were like, it was one specific group. I don't know. Then that one specific group should have been identified and removed expeditiously. The fact that it's multiple actors that are talking about this and multiple people being like, hey, no, what the fuck? You know, authors talking about being grabbed and things like that. Out of line. I hope you're banned from events. I hope they identify who you are. Because what are we... Do none of you know how to act? And like clearly there is an element here that we have to discuss, which is the fact that these are dark romance readers that are addressing this. I do not think the dark romance genre is inherently harmful. I'm not going to sit here and be the puritanical culture of like, no sex in books, all smut books are bad, all smut books make perverts. I'm not going to do that. I do think that there are perverts and assholes and shitheads that seek out spaces to try and prey on people in this space. There is dirtbags in this could just be romance readers that are dark romance readers that are dirtbags. There's also that. There's dirtbags in every industry. I'm a YouTuber. There's many dirtbags in the YouTube space, okay? I'm in a ball. You see the gray in my hair? My hair's growing gray, chat. Can you tell? Okay? You guys are stressing me out. I don't know how to explain to people that you can't touch people without consent, especially because I believe this was an 18 and up event. It sounds like these were grown adult women doing this. Someone should have decked you, frankly. Apparently, there was a giveaway that was like a winning giveaway, and someone won an adult toy that starts with the letter D that looks phallic in nature. Figure it out. Apparently, they kept whipping it out, trying to get people to touch it at weird times, and apparently, in the lobby of the hotel where the event was being held, shoved it down their throat all the way. This very visibly phallic thing. Someone consenting to go into a ball where they happen to have shirtless actors portraying book characters is not the same thing as you whipping out a dildo at a fucking event and deep throating it in the lobby. What are we doing? Have everyone lost their minds? Oh my God, I'm getting so angry. Like, it's so, oh God. Like, I was at a porn convention and I didn't see that. I have friends that go to BDSM parties and things like that. I know people that have been to orgies. The whole point is that when everyone walks in that room, they know there's a consent. It's a whole thing. Someone's gonna be like, Amanda's being a prude. I don't care. I really don't give a fuck. I don't care if you read smut. I don't care if that's all you read. I don't care if you only read stalker romances, okay? I really don't care. What I care about is if you acknowledge that the words on the page are fiction. I care if you acknowledge that it's fiction, and when you go out into the world, you're not assaulting people. Or going to an event, you're not assaulting people, because that's what you did. Sinners and Stardust have made a statement, okay? We are endlessly grateful to every single one of you who joined us for Sinners and Stardust, those who respected the heart of this community by asking for consent and honoring personal space. Our mission with Sinners and Stardust has always been to create something rare, a space where the dark romance community can feel safe, celebrated, and free to share their love of the stories that move us most. We need to be absolutely clear. Safety, security, and consent are not just values, they are non-negotiable. No is a complete sentence. Our authors, narrators, vendors, influencers, artists, and special guests are not just names on a book cover or faces on your screen. They are people. Human beings who deserve the same dignity, safety, respect as every attendee. They give their time, talent, and energy to this community, and in return, we expect every single person in attendance to treat them with respect they deserve. Moving forward, the following changes will be in place at all Sinners and Stardust events. Masks. Attendees are no longer allowed to wear full masks on any part of our event. No exceptions. Medical masks for health and safety are permitted. Entertainment. Entertainment will continue, but roaming interactive entertainers will no longer be a part of the ball. Safety for our guests, authors, narrators, vendors, their assistants, our influencers, and special guests now have a secure, dedicated area during the ball with their own security. But attendees are not permitted in their area under any circumstances. If an attendee is caught trying to go into their secured space, they will be immediately removed and banned from future events. Smaller, safer events. We are decreasing the number of tickets available to ensure a more comfortable, safe, and respectful experience for everyone. These rules are not suggestions, they are expectations. Violations including harassment, non-consensual touching, photos taken without permission, invasive questions, or any behavior that makes others feel unsafe will result in immediate removal and a permanent ban from all future Sinners and Stardust hosted events. These events thrive because of passion, creativity, and community, but community cannot exist without respect. Every single attendee has a responsibility to uphold these standards. To everyone affected this weekend negatively, from the bottom of our hearts, we are truly sorry, and we will work harder to gain your trust back as a safe and inclusive event. To everyone who respected boundaries and helped us uphold the spirit of this community, we're truly grateful. Your care makes all the difference, and we can't wait to welcome you to future events. So a lot of people were very grateful for this response. A lot of people that I've seen talking about this, people in the comment section have been like, organizers were very swift. They talked to everyone very quickly. I do appreciate people being very clear about their advocating for the organizers and things like that. So that is nice, and I want to acknowledge that. Like, I literally was screaming about this on stream the other day because I was so worked up, and I was like, I'm thinking about filming about this, and then I just started yelling. Okay, I'm gonna move forward. The next story is also concerning. Let's talk about the stalker situation with Zach Aguilar. I went back and forth about showing this video. I think I've decided against it. This has also become a discussion as well. As someone that films at events, okay, conventions in particular, I make a habit to try and not film individuals unless they're actively doing something like something crazy or like they're performing and other people are filming and things like that, okay? But for the most part, a lot of events, especially now because of how big social media presence has gotten, a lot of events, when you step onto the premises, you are consenting to being on camera, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that I put that sign up, okay? But like there's times where they're like, hey, no filming. And sometimes I read the room. Like we talked about this when I did DEF CON, where I was like, I just think I can't film the crowds here. Like you got to read the room. Unless there is an active issue where I need to film someone for their safety, for my safety. There have been times where you guys don't see these, but there have been times where I've started filming because security is getting involved with an individual and I don't know what the situation is, but I am filming for either their safety, attendee safety, whatever, just so there's another record of something. This instance, I originally, when I first saw this video, thought it was security filming for their own safety of this instance. It sounds like it's not, and this was just someone that was also in line at the VIP line for this signing and filmed this person being spoken to by security. This is also where a line is crossed, where they followed this person, it seems, outside once they'd been escorted outside of security and continued to film in secret as this person was explaining to security more things. The thing that I'm not saying is that this person is seemingly, based on how they are speaking and how they are acting and how people are assuming based on in the comments, this person is on the spectrum. And there has been a few instances lately of viral clips of people just filming people having clearly overstimulation outbursts of individuals and posting them online like, isn't this cringe? And so some people are equating this to that. And so that's one of the reasons I'm not going to share this video. My understanding is that in this video, they are filming a girl at a convention, a woman, okay? And she is in line to meet the voice actor for Tanjiro, Zach Aguilar. Off camera, you hear security telling her that she needs to leave the line and she can either walk around and leave or she can leave the convention. But she's not going to meet Zach. She then starts saying, can I just speak to the handler? Can I, hotel security knows everything. That was actually my pop. I'm afraid I'm going to lose him. So I can't see him. I can't just talk to him. I'm afraid I'm going to lose him. They won't let me see him. Security is being very patient with this individual. At the end of the day, clearly a line has been crossed. A crime is seemingly in the process of being committed, and a voice actor, regardless of who it is, feels unsafe. Either they, their team, security, doesn't matter. Someone said, hey, enough. You can buy a ticket for that person specifically. If you have violated their space in any capacity, if you've made them feel unsafe, if their team feels unsafe. There are times that my team is like, hey, you're not going to this thing. We can't verify your safety. They also are aware of my limits of things. That's allowed to happen. You can then be pulled out of the line and you can be trespassed from the event and things like that. And it sounds like they willingly were like, I don't want to leave, and were brought outside. So then the second video comes. In the second video, it is very clear this is not someone involved in the confrontation. This is someone filming. At some point, a woman is heard walking up and being like, just walk away to the person filming, and they don't. Sounds like happened from everything is that the pop in this situation, let's go ahead and assume that's the grandfather, brought their granddaughter, who appears to be an adult. She has one of those faces where she could be 19, she could be 32. I have no idea. To this event, and they found out where Zach, this voice actor, was staying, and they went to that hotel, seemingly to try and meet Zach. Now, something else seemingly happened in this time. And security got involved and was like, no, don't know the details, but maybe it's like something as simple as just we're waiting in the lobby. I've seen that. That's enough to get you booted. You know, it could be a variety of things. But it sounds like the pop said, oh, this is my bad. I brought her. I will take responsibility for that. Regardless of who brought who, a line has been crossed. If my dad did something, I would assume, and I was present, I would assume I'm also like, okay, cool, I won't stay. Gotcha. It's the lack of accountability of he wouldn't have brought you there if you didn't want to go there. So it sounds like they were asked to leave the hotel or removed from the hotel. Either way, security became aware of their presence and the pop took responsibility, apparently. At some point, it was communicated to either Zach experienced something, his team experienced something, security was like, hey, we're aware of this person. It sounds like your photo was handed out or something. Could be that. Zach also could have seen you and been like, hey, we can't. It sounds like she has met him on multiple other occasions, been to other conventions to meet him. In the footage outside of the convention hall, she explains at one point that her pop had hoped that she could walk around and hang out with Zach after his signing because he knows how upset she gets when she can't see him. At this point, it sounds like this is stalking or behavior that could lead to stalking. And the following to the hotel, you are stalking. Congratulations. You are engaging in stalking. You are engaging in trespassing. You are engaging in potential intimidation behavior. It doesn't matter. At that point, we're done. Okay. But it sounds like you're also being enabled by the adults in your life. And that's another issue. I have seen a lot of people being like, well, no, this is like a really sad situation. We need to give this person grace and things like that. And then there are other people in the comments like, hi, I am autistic. I know that stalking is bad, so I don't think we need to give this person grace. Someone else brought up a good point that when you are, charged with a crime, using the phrase, you can't arrest me, I'm autistic, doesn't work. That's not justification for a crime. That's not, that's not a reason to not be charged with a crime. It doesn't work that way. You can be neurodivergent and still be responsible for your actions in this regard, okay? It doesn't allow you to do illegal behavior, and it does not allow you to do intimidation behavior. Now, I also have dealt with someone that was on the tipping point of stalking behavior that I could very clearly tell they were neurodivergent and that they were maybe not fully understanding the social cues and things like that. And so therefore, it was also my responsibility as someone who did understand most social cues, I would say 80-90% of the time, okay? Some of you think I'm autistic. I don't think I'm on the spectrum, okay? I think I have undiagnosed ADHD and a lot of trauma, and those things can look the same on some people. As someone who is reading the situation is also acknowledging, let's say, the power dynamic of me being the YouTuber and this person being a fan or an aspiring creator or whatever, it is my job in that regard to establish the boundary and sever that tie if that boundary is towed over. This person I established a boundary with and regularly kept trying to go over it. I had to block them across the board. If I do meet and greets again, if I go to an event with meet and greet, this person's photo is going to be handed out and I will not be meeting this person. And I will not allow this person to be around me. I went to an event, found out they were there, I left. That's my prerogative of someone who does not want to be stalked and does not want to engage with this person. Which it's really unfortunate because you guys are such fucking assholes on the internet. God, a lot of his TikTok posts and things like that, the comments are like, I'm afraid I might lose him, like mimicking this girl in his comments, which you have no idea. He has not made a statement about this, I don't believe. You have no idea what this is doing to him. This could have been severely traumatizing. We don't know the details of what happened at the hotel, not really. We know the bits and pieces of what's in this video. But like, he could be very traumatized and you guys are just mocking him, basically, for this person because you think it's funny. Again, has everyone lost their fucking minds? I'm talking about everyone here. People on the internet, this person, like, again, and I know I'm talking about someone with autism or potentially autism. Again, I'm just assuming things at this point. The empathy side of me is looking at this video of this woman having an outburst and freaking out and being like, I don't think this person should have been walking around alone at a convention. That's where I'm at. But also it's very clear that the people in her life were also enabling this behavior. And that's another issue entirely. It does seem that she is an adult. And therefore, she is legally responsible for her actions in this regard. Stalking is bad. I don't think I need to explain that to you. The moment they were saying, you need to step out of line, done. The moment you were told to leave a hotel, done. The end. You've crossed a line. I can keep going. I mean, more people, this has been discussed immensely. Stalking is bad. Don't touch without consent. Don't tell people they're gonna die soon. Like, what? This video is insane. The knot in my stomach just talking about all this, because I know some of you, there's no nuance on the internet anymore of understanding me saying, I like pancakes, therefore I must hate waffles. So if I'm not addressing every single little detail of something, you guys just assume shit. And the leaps are like wild. It's fascinating. I don't know what's going on. To be able to go to an event is like a blessing, okay? It was a couple of years ago, everything was locked down. And so I don't know if it's like new people going to events who have never been to events before. I don't know what's going on. This is out of hand. This is out of hand. Did you hear of any of these stories? Is there more that I missed? that you were like, I can't believe you didn't talk about this because maybe I didn't hear about it, let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I stream on Twitch. My Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. Reminder, check out Girly Pop Go for more car and motorsport content. Shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting me on channel memberships. If you'd like to support me on channel memberships, you can go ahead and click join down below. Like to me on all social media. Be all up here, and that's me. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. I would rather you guys be overly protective of my boundaries. Like, a lot of you have assumed that I have social anxiety, and that's okay. I just don't like being screamed at across a courtyard in public. At a convention, it's a different story. I would just prefer that over people being far too familiar with me and misunderstanding how I talk to you and things like that. Because a lot of you, the line, I get because of social media and things like that, the lines of are we friends or not? We are not, respectfully, gets blurred. And so that leads to this potential dangerous situations and things like that. The end.